Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Panelist attendees.
Hi, Dragisha. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, hello, welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So it's a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you again.
Thank you both for coming in here. Let's wait just a couple of minutes to see if a few more attendees will join in. I'd hate to get too started ahead.
Sounds
So we'll
good.
do.
I see already one person is joined. That's good.
This will be a live recording. So we're also live in multiple areas. So one question, obviously we can do some of the editing later. I'm sorry to ask this question now, but one question is, for the other attendees that are coming into the YouTube live sessions, I might not be able to get access to their questions.
Questions? Yeah.
Correct. Yes. So if
Admin can write in the chat if there's any question from the YouTube.
okay,
I think the admin
yes,
can do it.
that's very good. Yes,
Well, we have more people coming. That's good.
yes, that is good. I'll give it just a couple minutes. We will officially get involved here.
The weather was so cold a couple of days ago. For the people who don't know where I am, I'm in South Carolina, and now it's back to summer again.
I know it's been very, very, very drastic all over the South. Actually, we were in the 20s last week at some point, and now we were in the 80s this week.
Yeah, same
Yes.
here.
How is the weather in Florida? Did it drastically
Florida,
change as
yeah, it's a
well?
little bit more warmer than there, but yeah, it's nice. A week or 2 weeks ago, it was kind of chilly for a t-shirt. But yeah, now it's back to like, summer, springtime. So yeah, it's still nice.
Cool.
That's
Nice.
great. So do you miss Virginia much
Um,
in regards to the weather?
yeah, well, yeah, the weather is similar where I'm born. So you have four different you have a spring and fall,
The
winter,
seasons,
which
huh?
I like. So but yeah, I will go to visit again in a couple of weeks for 5, 6 days. So
That's nice.
that's gonna be nice. But no, in Florida, it's just um like a everyday vacation. So that's why I like.
Well, the thing that gets me about Florida is just it's always flat. It's so flat
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I used to live 13 years in Virginia and I decided to move here and don't regret it all. So it's nice. It's a big community of people from Serbia as well, where I'm from. So
Okay, very
That's
cool.
cool. I
yeah,
know
yeah.
there's really cool restaurants in Virginia.
Yeah, that's what I missed. I still cannot find a good restaurant here.
Yeah.
What sounds like a business opportunity for you to
Exactly, but yeah,
open
yeah,
up
yeah.
your own
I'm still
restaurant down in Florida.
still in IT for now at the moment.
If IT doesn't work, we always have an option. Let's put it that way.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think luckily for you gentlemen, IT will always work.
Yeah, that's
I
why.
think we are good to go, Jackson. Let's get started. It
Always,
has been 4 minutes.
always. Um, all right. Well, thank you for everybody that's coming into the live sessions. My name is Jackson Payne, and I'm your host for this wonderful session that is brought to you by Wise Quarter. We thank our gracious host, Wise Quarter, which is a wonderful IT platform to learn and elevate yourself through the IT world, whether you're a beginner, moderate, or um, expert in regard to the IT field. You can always get a little bit more information out of Wise Quarter that can help you excel furthermore. So thank you for coming and joining our session. Our session's not going to be too long. If you'd ever like to come back to our session, we are recording this live, so we will have a recording of this session for you or your friends to look at and follow later on. Or you can go back and listen to some answers, or if you have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to someone at Wise Quarter or us as our host, and we're happy to try and get those questions answered for you later on. Again, my name is Jackson Payne. I'm located here in Greenville, South Carolina. I am lucky enough to know our two wonderful guests here who are wonderful in the IT field. They're both QA engineers. Dragisa is a test automation engineer for QA, and Omer is a QA automation engineer as well. And I would like to open the floor to them to maybe give us a little bit of background. Omer, you can start on yourself and
Yes.
how you got into the IT world.
Word of mouth, long story short. And the long story is I was in education actually for almost 20 years. And that was my dream to become a computer engineer. But let's say I made the wrong choices back in the day. And I studied mathematics and I loved mathematics. I thought like, oh, if you love mathematics, you can teach mathematics. And in time, I figured out that it's not the same thing. But I still stick with the job. But I guess the invention of cell phone has really changed my mind. I don't want to teach kids who are always holding a cell phone in their hands anymore. So when I first started, I looked for different boot camps. I didn't know about West Quarter by then. I don't think West Quarter was in existence by then. So I went to a different boot camp and worked my way. It's kind of tough, but eventually I finished the program, get myself certified, and I've been working for almost 3 years now.
That sounds great. It's crazy how you don't want to teach children who are staring at a piece of technology, and here you are trying to be involved in more in technology. There's a small
Yeah, adults are
contradiction
fine.
there.
Kids are
Yeah.
no.
Well, the wonderful thing about IT world as well is it doesn't matter the age. You can get involved no matter what when you want to start learning IT. So I think that's wonderful. Drag us up. Would you please give us a little bit of information on yourself?
Yeah. Hello everyone. My name is Dragisha, and right now you probably heard in the beginning, I live in Florida. I'm working from like remotely, and basically I came to United States 15 years ago. Work all kind of jobs as an immigrant, right? Starting from later came Uber and all those, but like in hotel business, in pool business, and with all the visas. So never had any kind of experience in IT sector. And you just like Omer said, word of mouth. I just had some of the friends who start the journey with the IT, and basically that's what I start researching, analyzing, see if that's for me. Like I'm 40 years old, so like you said, is it time? But it's I just believed in myself, and I started to watch the YouTube channels and all kind of Udemy courses, but that wasn't enough. You need to have something who can direct you where you need to start, and the flow that goes with the language that you're learning and all those kind of things. So yes, the same school, short version of the school, and basically I just believed that I could do it. It was painful in beginning because a lot of things that you don't understand, and you just but I had I just believed, and I learned a lot, and I study a lot, and I never gave up. That's the only thing that you have to write in at the wall in front of you, not to give up, because it will be very stressful at the moments. But when you see the message in front of you, then you keep going. And basically that's how I went in. And like Homer, it's been 3 years almost that I'm working at my project, and that's my story.
Absolutely, that's wonderful to hear. Yeah, it's amazing how frustrating learning something new can be, but nothing good comes out of something that's easy. So
Yes,
it's great. It's hard work, but it's something that isn't necessarily as difficult as going to a four-year college. That's one of the beautiful things about the IT world, and a common misconception is a lot of people have think they have to, go to a four-year college, get a certain degree in order to be an IT professional and make $100,000 a year. But you can easily get involved and move up very quickly in less than a year, honestly, nowadays, um, into the IT world.
that's our
So,
story. So yeah, that's whatever you said. Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
You're saying, yeah.
absolutely. Um, so back to you, Omer. I was want to know just a little bit in regards to how you've seen the IT industry change in the last 5 years, and where it's headed into the next 5 years, and what education people might need, or what ways they might need to think they need to learn moving forward to be involved and actually find a good and steady job and be, influential to the market.
Yes, I think we can stretch back this question maybe to dot-com boom, the early 2000s, when the internet boom actually. But if in the last 5, 10 years, if you think about it, I think there's a huge increase in offshore resourcing. Companies are just going to labor where it is more affordable, and that's one fact. We cannot disregard it. It's happening, but that doesn't mean that we do not need jobs in the U.S., especially if you are a U.S. citizen. There's tons of government jobs or government contractor jobs. There's a tremendous amount of jobs that just requires to become a citizen person. So I don't think it's a very huge uh, game changer. The biggest thing that happened last 5 years is the evolution of AI. That's my thing, and the AI is going to continue to evolve, and it will change things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand that entirely. And, another big thing that has been pushed ever since, the COVID pandemic is working remotely
Yeah,
and pushing out so much, offshore work in America has really caused a lot of issues in regards to working in America. So people are always looking for those remote jobs. And unfortunately, there's one thing that we see that's another, I think, a common misconception is a lot of people think businesses want to hire individuals from other countries just because they're cheaper. But in reality, especially when it comes to the IT world and even working remote jobs, I think there's a lot of companies, especially like Salesforce, that prefer to hire people that are within America and within the states and have those certain parameters of life and those certain time zones. They can still work remotely, and that's another great thing to get involved into the IT world, including some of these courses. A lot of these courses, such as Wise Quarter, or you can kind of take at your own levels. You can move forward. There's a lot of recorded videos that you can take, and you can learn as you go, so you can still have a job, you can still go to school, you can still do other things. Life isn't you're not Your learning adventure through Wise Quarter or another IT program is not going to stop you from actually expanding yourself and stop your life. So that's wonderful. Um, Dragasa, is there anything you would like to add in regards to like what you have seen in the last 5 years and moving forward in the next 10 years, or 5 to 10?
Well, basically, it's always a good opportunity to start, learning with any kind of, in this case, with the boot camp, or anyway. So I just think that we should not be afraid of AI, because there's always someone who can, need to set up, machine to do something. So it's always going to be a job, and this not sure in which amount that's going to happen. Definitely it's easier for us as well to implement those all things, but basically my point is even if AI, has people are losing job because of that, with the base that you can learn, you can always move to something else, right? In our case, cybersecurity is always going to be, popular, for example, or mobile testing, or all kind of, with all those, you need some kind of base in order to, start the journey. And that's you basically where you start, learning from the language, in my case, Java. And then from there you go, and learn other things. I like to learn mobile. I know testing. I know, a little bit, but not how I want it. And then in like next 5 years, my personal opinion is that I should, learn a little bit about cybersecurity and try to, because that's the future, right? The hackers and all those things. If they have AI, it's going to be much easier for them to, do a lot of bad things. So, it's always kind of new opportunities, and the learning is never going to stop. So.
All right, thank you for that.
I have one question to follow up to Dragic about this. Not the question, but this is our opinion. I wonder what you think about it. I always see AI as a big threat to developers, but not the testers, because I see development as a discipline. A discipline can be taught. If something can be taught, a computer can do it. But QA testing is like an art, because it's not like a discipline you can teach. You just hone your skills in time as you learn the software, and I think it's harder to replace by the AI compared to a developer. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that there is significance about that QA processing. It doesn't necessarily replace the QA professionals, but like I said, basically, it helps you a little bit, but it just there is always a thing that one person can probably do with AI. Something that like maybe three people might do if they don't have like last 5 years, because we didn't have AI. So definitely it's gonna, but it's always it cannot replace. Someone has to teach them what to do and all those kind of things. And but efficiency from AI, it's probably going to be more effective. So yeah, that's just how I think.
Absolutely.
But
Well, thank you for that. Well, to kind of backtrack just a little bit, Dragisha, you touched on a key thing, a key point where I'd like to bring a specific word that I've said multiple times already, which is misconceptions. So, Dragisha, if you'd like to answer this question first, could you provide maybe some common misconceptions that a lot of people have in regards to the IT business? And maybe you could express a little bit on what you did before you actually got into the IT world, because some people think that, like I said earlier, you have to go to college, or some people need to have a technical background or a technical understanding of IT. Some people think that if they go into a specific IT area, they can't transfer that over into those skills into another IT field. And I was just wondering if you could provide our viewers, both live and who watch the video later on, a little bit of information on those common misconceptions, and ease their mind out of that.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for that question. It just basically, I had some interest in technology and testing, basically. The second, not that important thing was like a salary. I learn and research a little bit. That's that the salary and the money were good. So that second thing that brought me in that department. And then once when I go in, I start to think like you're just a user, like a QA, looking for for the products and try to find something. So basically, and the most important, it's communication skill, because in department that I'm working, and that probably you are between developer, you're between with the business analyst who is, bringing the what the business needs. You have the project or product owner who is just talking what needs to be done. So you are like, you're between them, where you need to communicate with all of them. So this is what kind of just obviously you have, like I said, you have to research, start from somewhere, and then basically you just go by the flow. Once when you're there, you just, like I mentioned, you cannot, don't give up, and just focus. And just my motto is, in order to achieve it, you have to believe it. So I believe strongly that I can do it. And yeah, one more thing: when you start with the school or researching, and you start dreaming about the code, then you are done on the right path. Omar knows that.
Yeah, dreaming about code is important.
That's
Exactly.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's where they hit you. That's it.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
they all,
you're into it.
it's funny. They always say when you know you're fluent in a language when you're actually dreaming in that language. So they always say that. So code is a language all in itself.
Exactly.
Um, Omer, but could you also touch on some of those common misconceptions? I know you were, I think, a math teacher before you got
Yes.
into the IT world. So if you
So
could,
I'm gonna approach from a very different angle, that I was a math person. So everyone was, oh, you can do IT very easily. You can do that. People were telling me that, why don't you do IT? Why don't you switch your career for years? And I was like, okay, I know math, and then I should be able to do it. But that's another misconception. It does, so you don't need math. Okay. People are scared, oh, computer science, I have to do lots of math. No. If you can do basic addition, subtraction, if you can do market, when you go to a supermarket, if you can figure out that your change is correct, then that's good enough math to to get into this business. So that's one of the big misconceptions. People think that they need math skills. They really do not need math skills. Okay. That's one thing that's really like always on my mind. So I'm a math teacher, I'll be better. No, it doesn't work like that.
absolutely.
And
So you
you
didn't.
suffer a lot, right? As well, like me, who is not math teacher, but like I said, it's gonna be at the end, the goal when you get the first offer, it's just you cannot believe it. You know how
Yeah,
just that the path that you start with, and then where you end up, you just there's
it's
no
magical.
word to
It's good.
describe.
Absolutely. Um, it's interesting. You both from my understanding, you both have had some sort of more technical background in regards to thinking. You know, there's some people that are really good in math. There's some people that are really good in English. And growing up, I was definitely not the math wizard at all. I was horrible in math. I was lucky to get a C in math, lucky to get a C in chemistry, anything that was kind of technical. But the more imaginative stuff when it comes to like history and English, I really excelled in. And I think one of the great things about IT is even for the people that don't necessarily think that they can fit into those kind of technical areas of like coding, mathematics, and so on, I believe you actually can. And I've heard so many successful stories of people migrating to the US. And no matter the situation, whether it was good or bad, they came to the US and they decided to take a course because they didn't know what to do for work. Maybe their degree did not transfer over to America. Maybe they didn't actually have a degree, so on and so forth. So they actually went ahead and they took an IT course, and they went from no experience, no job, no home within a year, making $75,000 a year or more, having a successful life, so on and so forth, and moving forward. So I think it's wonderful, and there's so many different opportunities in the IT world. And just to touch on what you guys were speaking about a little bit earlier in regards to like AI, everyone's talking about AI. Everyone, there's GPT now, and so on and so forth. There's so many different things, and you hear all these cool things that come from AI, and then sometimes you hear some of these really freaky, scary things that are going on with the AI world. But that all involves types of code, and that all involves certain things. And there's always going to be cybersecurity jobs that are to prevent AI issues, and so many, so on and so forth. So there's so many potential ways of looking at AI that could produce so many jobs down the road. Um, that could be really, really good. So
And
one
that's what
question,
scares me, actually, just to continue. That's what scares me.
yeah,
That's a specific thing, the rapid pace of technology that is coming in front of us, and the technology that involving in terms of data privacy and security to the questions, and in AI and automation. So those kind of things, just that we have to. You don't even know anymore what is true, what is not true. There's social media over there and all those kind of things. And but from code perspective, I'm happy with it because it helped me so many times. So that's what I like. AI actually just gives you, you don't have to in like a 5 seconds gives you the answer on some questions, or it doesn't have to be an answer. It cannot be. It can give you just an idea, basically, what and how you can, solve some problem. That's a good part of the deal, but
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, and it's it's kind of interesting. I'm a person that if something scares me or freaks me out a little bit, I have to understand it. I have to learn it. That way
Yeah.
I can either know how to avoid it, how to beat it, or how to run away from it.
Or how to use
And
it,
or
how to
how to
own it.
use it. Yeah, how to use it and how to own it. And that's what I think a lot of people would benefit from moving on into the IT world, because we are growing vastly and changing vastly. It's not every year now. It's every month. It's every week. There's some advancement in IT now that is just has changed. Excuse me. Um, so it's kind of interesting. So that brings up another question. Omer, if you'd like to answer this one first. What has kind of surprised you about the IT industry right now? And I know a lot of people are concerned in regards to the job market. Some people are saying, Salesforce lost a lot of jobs. There's a couple other companies that lost a lot of jobs or cut a lot of jobs recently. Um, but I think that's not necessarily focused because of the IT market, and maybe it might be focused on the recession. And as we're moving forward, that's obviously going to open up and change drastically. So, is there anything that has surprised you about the IT world recently? And what are your thoughts moving forward for the job
Not
market?
necessarily recently, but since as I said, I was an educator, and I did not really feel the harsh face of the corporate America. So one thing, you start working for these huge tech companies, you just meet this big giant. I don't want to call them monster, but the big player is called the corporate America, and it has its own rules. Sometimes brutal, and sometimes you know how to bend the rules. You can do this and that, but that's one surprise I was uh, having. The other thing, and that's also interesting question for maybe Dregasa can agree with me, that one of the skills, like if I ask Dregasa, like, what's the most important skill that a QA would need? And I'm going to answer my answer first, because that's what I found out. Actually, it applies to any job, but I figured out that in our job line, the biggest skill is communication. I have seen that people who has poor communication skills cannot perform very well. But at the end of the day, if you have good communication skill in terms of, if you can make, even like if you can communicate and make a good friendship, because people are behind, just like us, screens, and sometimes most of the time the camera is off, so you're talking to a voice, and the more you can make a connection, build a rapport with this person behind this black screen, the better you can work with this person. It doesn't have anything to do with your technical skills. It's just your communication skills. So it was surprising to me that I figured out that this is the most important thing in this job. that somehow this I will find a way to, find common things with this. It could be a developer, be a scrum master, it doesn't matter. We have to go beyond our robotic relations on the screen. So that brings me, I don't know what direction is thinking about, but that was my
Yeah, of course.
not
Yeah.
necessarily okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I just agree. You learn that when you go to the interview, and I listen a lot of interviews preparing for myself. You just, you can feel when someone is like robotic and, like learn everything from the script and just go by. And you can just feel it. And I believe that other person who is on other side feel that the energy when someone is relaxed and when they talk and go from one subject to another instead of just going like I said in a robotic way. So obviously the chance for hiring is always on the side who is more relaxed, communicative, like Omar said, and then just but one another thing that I preparing for this, I was researching that's the for QA professionals and testers, the demand it's will be up to 25% from until 2031. So even if we have all this AI or all these kind of things, I don't think that it's still on that level that can replace the human. And I believe that we will have a lot of positions for that. Maybe some other departments in a law or something like that will take faster. But regarding, it always helps developer QA, the AI, but I'm not pretty sure. Actually, I cannot say I'm pretty sure, but I think that it's just not, we are not that yet, but we will go definitely in like 10-20 years from now on, in that way, just when the robot will take everything. So, but like I said from beginning of this, you need to always keep learning, and that's it. But the base brings the school brings the base bootcamp, and it's 6, 7, 5 months, but after those 5 months at least you learn something and you go with that. So
Absolutely. Um, and you touched on so many good key points there in regards to your learning. It's adapt or die in our world, especially now with how quickly we're moving. And if you want to be successful, unfortunately, one of the only ways to do that is to constantly push yourself to the limits in regards to learning and moving forward and so on and so forth.
correct.
And once you actually develop that habit, and I think maybe boot camps, IT boot camps, are a wonderful way to develop that habit, because it gets easier once you actually start learning and you develop the habit of learning, that you'll find yourself more successful. There's so many different stories about like making your first $1 million. Well, once you make your first $1 million, it's easy to make the next million. It's easy to make 5 million, and so on and so forth. It's just really, really, really hard to get that first million. So I think that was wonderful. And then
You're
also,
getting there. You're getting there, Jackson. You're getting
and
there.
then and then in regards to schooling and education, you said 5, 6 months. There's so many people that look at themselves and say, gosh, I don't know if I can put 5 or 6 months to this. But if you're going to go to get a bachelor's degree, that's 4 years. That's a lot more long. That's
Yeah.
way longer than 5 or 6 months. And in 5 or 6 months, you could be done and making more money than somebody would immediately out of college with certain fields and certain degrees that they're doing now.
I will
Um,
mention again, I came as an immigrant and I worked, I didn't have a chance to go here in the school on the college or everything. So, and, I worked the jobs that, um, are in that time like Uber driver, a restaurant, all those kind of things that we probably all did in the past. And then at some point you say, okay, it's enough. This is no way to go up. Let me try something different. And then that different in my case was the school and the boot camp, and I started, and at the end I'm happy. The boot camp changed my life, and I after 13 years I'm working from home. moved to Florida, living 15 minutes from the beach.
Yeah, that's great. That is wonderful. Well, and that opens it up. So I think we're going to have a couple more questions here, but that opens up a couple of different things. One of my first questions, Omar, if you'd like to start off again on this question, is say I'm a new person, never even touched a computer, barely know how to turn it on, and I uh, have done a little bit of looking into. I've talked to some friends, I've talked to some IT professionals. Maybe I've actually gotten on the computer somehow and I've looked at some YouTube videos and I've seen some things. But other than that, I know nothing. Is it beneficial for me to take a boot camp? Am I able to get into a boot camp? What's the process there for some people that just think they might have no, way of actually getting involved in one of those?
I would do two things immediately that's coming to my mind. The first thing is I would go to people that I trust and who will who would tell the truth to my face, and I would ask them like, "This is a route I'm planning to take, and you know me better than the other people. What do you think about me? Do you think I can handle it? Do you think I should be able to do this thing?" And if I get favorable answers from my people around who knows me personally, then most of the boot camps, as far as I know, have their first month free. Or you can pay the first month. If you don't feel like continue, you can get your money back by the end of the first month. So the first month is, the I can agree, is the make or break, right? You go for 1 month, one of these boot camps, and that's when it's really hard because they start with basic scripting, coding. It could be Java or JavaScript or whatnot, but you learn coding, and then you will tell yourself after 1 month, do I want to do this thing 5 more months? If you feel they have the stamina and the power and everything embedded in you that tells you that okay, we can do this thing, go ahead. So I would take a chance and get my feet wet to see how much I am, you know, inclined to
Yeah,
do this thing by a free program.
yeah, absolutely. I understand that. It's very nerve-wracking getting involved into a certain thing, especially when you get into a course and it's a 6-month course, so it's accelerated a little bit. Sometimes courses are even shorter, and the first week they're talking about things that you have no clue what the vocabulary is. It's a foreign language, but they're still speaking English, and it's concerning. It's scary. Um, but the first thing that pops in my mind is fake it till you make it. Just immerse yourself, surround yourself with that information. As long as you're there and you show up and you put in the effort, it will eventually all start clicking, and you'll actually get to learn and move on a little bit more with
Yeah,
it.
in my case, it was a little bit different. I had a couple of friends that I knew that already went through, so I didn't know, wanted to ask anyone else that can I make it or not. No, first day when I decided, first day when I thought about it, I said, you either start it and you finish, you go to the L, or just don't start it. So, and that's how I did. So I'm the person who doesn't quit that easy. And yeah, everything is new, but there is a time you practice, you learn, and everything. So yeah, from I just when I decided to go, I went till the end. So that was my case.
That's wonderful. Well, so I don't want to keep you guys any longer, but I want to ask one really, really important question, and it's for both of you. Omar, if you'd like to start again, what is something, if you were going to offer a piece of advice to somebody who is just getting involved into a boot camp, they're just about to start, what are some of the main takeaways, or what is the most important way for a person to commit to finishing that course successfully?
Okay, that one thing comes to my mind, and that is teamwork. As Dorothy said, it is difficult. You have to be dedicated, but that's at the end of the day, it is still teamwork. There will be other team members with you joining these boot camps, and they will be learning with you. So one thing that comes to my mind that you have to find really good partners to study with. But my main answer to your question, the only way to find really good partners is to become a really good partner. If you dedicate yourself, okay, I'm going to be a good partner. Whoever is going to ask me a question, I'm going to help these people. I don't know them. I just met them, but I will do everything in my hand to help them. And believe it or not, the help you will get from them is more than you give them. So that is how the teamwork is. Don't expect a magical friend. Don't expect someone to come and help you out. You be the person that you imagine that you would have in your team. Be that person, and you will see that more and more people accumulate around you, and then you will be a very positive cycle group that you will feed each other with good feedback. That's, I guess, is the silver bullet if someone is really dedicated to finish it.
Okay, yeah, I really like that. And I think it's good, and I think for a lot of people who are feeling pressure in their job or in their financial status or in their future and where they're going to be and what they're going to do is even if they're introverted, they might need to take that step to be extroverted just for a moment, just to put themselves out there, even if it's through a computer, which is arguably much easier sometimes for some people. Um, so when you get in a boot camp, you make a friend, you talk to somebody, you ask a question, you say, "Hey, did you get this? Hey, did you understand this? Could you help me with it?" And then vice versa. I really like that you pointed out that you have to be a team player in order to be, to receive a team player. And getting involved and helping people out. I think that's really, really good. Um, so Dragusa, could you also give us a little bit of your advice in regards
Yeah,
to?
yeah. Well, the schools gives you that kind of teamwork. That real work. You are working with 10 to 15 people in a team. So you have different QAs, developers, other people who are creating the meetings, and business people who are there. So when you go to school boot camp, you just imitate that, and then you need to work in a group, and you need to work because one person doesn't create a project, right? So because of that, teamwork creates the whatever it needs to be done. So yeah, I agree with both of you. It just that's how that's what they learn, teach you basically at the end. So yeah.
Just one anecdote about I was shopping in Publix, and then I was using Slack for communication, and somebody called me on Slack, and random person that I have never met before. And he said like that this person was really having trouble with the interview questions, the Java interview questions. And he's like asking me, could you please go over these questions with me? I said, okay, whatever, let's do it. I wasn't thinking, I was just shopping stuff at Publix. And later on, we solved all the questions from beginning to the end more than once. And we become good friends. And he lives all the way up in Pennsylvania, and we still connected. And I had one chance to visit him and met his family, and they're planning to come here. So you don't know, you will make good friends. Okay, it just don't say no. You don't know how much you can help someone, and that person can help you. Because that person now is now referring me to different jobs that I couldn't find myself. So you're making good connections. Just keep it's networking in short what I'm talking about. But to make
Absolutely.
networking, you have to be, a liberal mind. Just feel free to give people. Then later on
Absolutely.
you will get back.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah,
think again, just to touch on the importance of people moving forward in the time frame. A lot of people look at 5, 6, 8 month courses and they say, "My gosh, that's so much time." But I think back and the amount of times that I said, "Wow, I'm never going to do that. That takes so much time." And then 8 months later, I look back and say, "Wow, if I had just done it, I would have been done by now with this course, and I would be better off or in a different position or with different stats, as you could say." Um, than I was back then, and it just seemed like yesterday. So it's so important for people to really just push through that really hard, difficult first week, first month, whatever. Make a friend, get involved in the courses, and move forward. In anything, the possibilities are endless for your success. And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of wonderful people, both in kind of your situation and both people that come from America that went to school, aren't happy in their job, got a business degree, still aren't making as much money as they wanted to, and now they're an IT professional or in cybersecurity, and they're making more money than anything they could have done with a business degree and a bachelor's business degree, or even sometimes a master's degree straight out of college. And they did it in 1/5 of the time frame, which is even more impressive. So
Yeah, just to add something, those 5, 6 months that you're talking about, you don't think that's like a waste of this. No, you invest in yourself for a future, right? And then future can
absolutely.
come very fast. In 6 months, it can change your life, and it changed mine. And I was working for 40, 50,000, for 10 hours a day, or maybe 2 jobs. And yeah, I think that there's a lot of people there who are in my shoes, and you just, once you have to decide and invest in yourself a little bit, and don't look like 5, 6 months. It's like a long time. Just look what you can learn in that time, and just where it can bring you, and where can you be next year, for example.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many people that, just like in that example, that make 40 or $50,000 a year, working 2 jobs, 10 to 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
every day. You do Uber on the weekends, you do Grubhub on the weekdays, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they go into a QA engineering job or an IT job, and then all of a sudden
And
they're
you work
making
from home, and you just
$80,000 a year working for 45
regular
hours a week.
hours.
And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's great. So that's wonderful. And our sponsor for this show right now has been Wise Quarter, and Wise Quarter offers a wonderful amount of different IT kind of teaching areas and so on and so forth. And they've got some great boot camps for a lot of people all across the world that could excel and change their lives very dramatically within the next 6 to 8 months. So that's awesome. That's wonderful. Well, do either of you have any final comments that you'd like to say to our
I'll give
listeners?
that honor to Dragisha.
Yeah, like I said on the beginning, you just invest in yourself. Study, don't give up. That's the most important thing. You will have a lot of minds sets about that, to give up. I cannot do this. No, you just have to keep going, study, and eventually you will get to the right path, and then get some knowledge. And with that knowledge, you never know what it can bring you, but at least you have something at the end. So
Absolutely. Well, the world has and society has pushed for work-life balance nowadays, and having a good work-life balance. But the way I look at work-life balance is, if you put your nose to the grindstone and you may not have a life for 6 to 8 months,
yeah,
that'll open up your life for the rest of your
correct,
life, for years
correct.
and years and years. So you're really, like you said, you're investing so much right now for your future to be free. So that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to both of you for giving us your opinions and your answers to these wonderful questions. We greatly appreciate you. We greatly appreciate Wise Quarter as our host here for hosting this session. And again, Wise Quarter, you need to check them out. They're a wonderful place to get into a boot camp and understand some IT. And they also do occasionally have some promotions as well. So you can get in for the first couple, weeks or first month, and see if it's for you or if it's not. But really push through that first month, and you'll find yourself much more successful 8 months to a year down the road. But thank you for joining us, gentlemen. It was wonderful listening to you, and I hopefully we'll have another session again soon.
It's always a pleasure. And
Thanks
thank
for
you very
having
much,
me.
Dragisha. We really appreciate your presence here.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Bye-bye now.
Bye.